Tepeyac. When the sky of Tepeyac opens its first thin stars and the dark comes down in ink of Japanese blue above the bell towers of La Basilica de Nuestra Senora, above the plaza photographers and their souvenir backdrops of La Virgen de Guadalupe, above the balloon vendors and their balloons wearing paper hats, above the red canopied thrones of the shoeshine stands, above the wooden booths of the women frying lunch in vats of oil, above the tapaleria on the corner of Misterios and Cinco de Mayo, when the photographers have toted up their tripods and big box cameras, have rolled away with the wooden ponies I don't know where, when the balloon men have sold all but the ugliest balloons and herded these last few home, when the shoeshine men have grown tired of squatting on their little wooden boxes, and the women frying lunch have finished packing dishes, tablecloth, pots, and the big straw basket in which they came, then Abuelito tells the boy with dusty hair, Arturo, we are closed. And in crooked shoes and purple elbows, Arturo pulls down with a pole the corrugated metal curtains. First the one on the Misterios, then the other on Cinco de Mayo, like an eyelid over each door, before Abuelito tells him he can go. And this is when I arrive, one shoe and then the next, over the sagging door stone, worn smooth in the middle from the huaraches of those who have come for tins of glues and to have their scissors sharpened, who have asked for candles and cans of boot polish, a half-kilo sack of nails, turpentine, blue speckled spoons, paintbrushes, photographic paper, a spool of picture wire, lamp oil, and string. Abuelito, under a bald light bulb, under a ceiling dusty with flies, puffs a cigar and counts money soft and wrinkled as old Kleenex, money earned by the plaza women serving lunch on flat tin plates, by the souvenir photographers and their canvas recuerdo de Tepeyac backdrops, by the shoeshine men sheltered beneath their fringed and canopied kingdoms, by the blessed vendors of the holy cards, rosaries, scapulars, little plastic altars by the good sisters who live in the convent across the street, counts and recounts in a whisper and puts the money in a paper sack we carry home. I take Abuelito's hand, fat and dimpled in the center like a valentine, and we walk past the Basilica, where each Sunday the Abuela lights the candles for the soul of Abuelito, past the very same spot where long ago Juan Diego brought down the cerro, the miracle that has drawn everyone, except my Abuelito, on their knees, down the avenue, one black past the bright lights of the sasteria of Senor Guzman, who is still at work at his sewing machine, past the candy store where I buy my milk and raisin gelatins, past La Providencia Tortilleria where every afternoon Dulce Maria and I are sent for the basket of lunchtime tortillas, past the house of the widow Marquez, whose husband died last winter of a tumor the size of her little white fist, past La Muñeca's mother watering her famous dahlias with a pink rubber hose and a skinny string of water, to the house on La Fortuna, number 12, that has always been our house. Green iron gates had arabesque and scroll like the initials of my name, familiar whine and clang, familiar lacework of ivy growing over and between except for one small clean square for the hand of the postman whose face I have never seen. Up the 22 steps we count out loud together, uno, dos, tres, to the supper of sopa de fideo and carne guisada, cuatro, cinco, seis, the glass of café con leche, siete, ocho, nueve, shut the door against the mad parrot voice of the abuela, 10, 11, 12, fall asleep as we always do with the television mumbling, 13, 14, 15, the abuelito snoring, 16, 17, 18, the grandchild, the one who will leave soon for that borrowed country, 19, 20, 21, the one he will not remember, the one he is least familiar with, 22, 23, 24. Years later, when the house on La Fortuna, number 12, is sold, when the Tapaleria corner of Misterios in Cinco de Mayo changes owners, when the courtyard gate of arabesque and scrolls is taken off its hinges and replaced with a corrugated sheet metal door instead, when the widow Marquez and La Muñeca's mother move away, when Abuelito falls asleep one last time, 25, 26, 27, Years afterward, when I returned to the shop on the corner of Misterios and Cinco de Mayo, repainted and redone as a pharmacy, to the basilica that is crumbling and closed, to the plaza photographers, the balloon vendors and shoeshine thrones, the women whose faces I do not recognize serving lunch in the wooden booth, to the house on La Fortuna, number 12, smaller and darker than when we lived there, with the rooms boarded shut and rented to strangers, the street suddenly dizzy with automobiles and diesel fumes, the house fronts scuffed and the gardens frayed, the children who played kickball all grown and moved away. Who would have guessed after all this time? It is me who will remember when everything else is forgotten. You who took with you to your stone bed something irretrievable, without a name.